What's poppin', y'all? It's Cartier Rob.
It's Tommy the Disciple.
And it's Happy Valentine's Day to everyone here. You know, and we got a special for y'all. So before we show you what's behind curtain one, hopefully y'all have been liking our relationship content, because we're really trying to bring that balance, because everything on the internet is so polarizing. So I know y'all tired of seeing two dudes talk about it, because we you know, I'm in a relationship. You know, I ain't gonna.
I'm not.
So I think. Okay. So I think we gotta ask some real married people.
Right. Exactly.
Now, respectfully, we ain't talking about one, two. We talking about veterans.
Yeah,
I think we gotta ask some veterans about marriage.
Yes.
You ready?
I agree. Let's do it. Yeah.
So welcome our very first guest to the Relationship Dynamic Podcast. We have the wonderful, the impactful, the triumphant.
Preach.
We preaching?
Sheesh.
Hill family.
Hey. Sure.
Thank y'all
Claps,
for
claps,
having
claps.
us. Thank
Welcome. As I said in the opening, we're a relationship self-help podcast that really wants to talk to people about the realness of relationships. So before we get into that, I think y'all should just introduce yourselves.
Yeah, well, I'm going to just get it going right, fellas. So I'm going to go ladies first.
Whoa.
Take notes.
Right into it. Ladies first.
This is who he is for real, though.
Yeah.
My name is Sherani Hill, and I have had the pleasure of having the Hill last name for 15 years. Previously, Sherani Frazier. But I am the wife of this wonderful man here.
You hear how she said the wife.
The wife. Okay.
Well, I am Israel Hill. Yeah, man, it has been an honor and a pleasure. We've been at it for 15 years. Yeah, I'm 39 years old. So I've been married for 15 years, and 39. That's crazy, right? But
Yes.
We're gonna get into it. I know they're gonna help us get into it, man. But it's just an honor to be here. Thank you all for investing in us, for hosting us, and yeah, we excited, man.
Ooh.
Hey. Snaps. Poetic snaps. We love it.
Well, before we get into our very first topic, one of the most evergreen content when it comes to the dawn of social media has always been relationships. No matter what, somebody always got something to say. Now, me personally, as a professional, I think half the people shouldn't be saying anything.
Take the mics away.
Yo!
Or their phones.
Yo, give me some of those TikTok therapists' salaries. Let's swap.
Let's
swap.
That's funny.
So I think it was our due diligence from our last shows to like really ask people who've really been in it.
Right.
And I think that really starts with, you know, how things started.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think our first question we want to ask y'all is, can y'all tell us your love story? How did this happen?
It was messy.
Yeah, so we gotta. If we gonna talk,
Where's the
about
popcorn?
life,
Where's the
we gonna
popcorn?
Pull up. Let's really.
I had
pull up.
popcorn earlier.
Yeah, let's really pull up.
Oh,
man. It was. I would say that for sure. It was. It was messy, you know, like it was confusing, like trying to figure out, like we both actually had other people, like I was dating somebody, she was dating somebody, and I started out just being like the shoulder to cry on, you know, like I'm just, you know, she's telling me, I'm like, tell me all about it, but I knew in the back of my head the whole time I really wanted her, but I was trying to be a good friend, and we were actually friends for a good while, you know, and we didn't overstep any boundaries, and you know, like we would just talk, and she was actually there for me when I was like a young college kid that moved here and trying to play football. I had one kid from a previous relationship, and then another one like kind of on the way soon thereafter, just doing a lot, right? Like I had my, you know, but it was her kind of just being my friend first, and I knew what she had been through, but man, I think she just one day would you say you took advantage of me in the driveway? I think that's like that was our first kiss. But before that we had not kissed. Nothing happened, but like it was kind of messy. We both had other people. We were
both
talking.
Definitely friends. And,
yeah, we were friends first, and like
ministry partners.
We were. I was the drummer at a local church, and
I was in the choir.
She was in the choir. So typical story, right? But I just had a lot going on, working a couple different jobs, like trying to make ends meet for my son, still trying to figure out if I wanted to play football or if I was going to be afforded an opportunity. Small child, one on the way, like I said, and like she actually like helped me out at a point in time with like somewhere, like I literally had nowhere to go, but I knew I couldn't move back to Seattle. My kids were here, and she actually was really just like a solid friend. Like I had been through a whole bunch of stuff outside of her, and she just kept showing up, just like a real best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like a real best friend, somebody I could really confide in and talk to. And I was like, man, she's really solid. So I just had to, like PSA, I want to thank all the dudes that didn't get it right, because by y'all fumbling her, y'all allowed me to come up on one. So, yeah. I'll stop there though,
That's it. That's a real talk. That's the story. That's our love story. It started out messy. We knew each other. We were friends. I held him down, and now he holds me down.
She did.
And I guess even to kind of go off of that too, like with you guys starting off as friends, then how did that like transition go into dating? Like, was there a conversation, or was it just like one day you just noticed I want to wife her up, or just like or just enter a relationship? Like, what did that look like entering from that friendship phase to like the dating phase?
I think other people knew before we did.
Absolutely.
He actually told me like he didn't like me because of some of the decisions I was making, like with other people. Like he was like real. He was like, I don't really like you, and I was like, ooh, you're rude. So it was like one of them relationships. But other people knew. Like my cousin told me, I used to live with my cousin and my sister. And my cousin told me, she was like, you're gonna end up really liking him, and I was like, no, I'm not. And I don't know what happened, but I think it was all them, late night phone calls and talking, and he was saying all the right stuff when other people wasn't. And I think it definitely just kind of like, it was God's timing and God's thing for sure. Like I was to the point where I was like, man, I don't want no relationship. And he came in and was like, yeah, I know exactly what.
Yes, you do. You just want a different type of relationship.
Exactly, the right one. Jeez, nice. Yeah, that's amazing.
And I did tell. It was just the decisions, the decisions she was making. I was like, man, she can do better. And then I found myself so invested in what she was doing. I was like, man, I think it's something else here for me. Like, why do I care? It's kind of one of them like, bro, why do you care so much? And then I had to think about it, and I was like, why do I care so much? And it was like, because I care so much. Wow. Like that's really what it was. So,
I just can't walk by that bar.
Because
we could do better. I was like, I'm gonna have to use that. Y'all's good at this. Y'all sneaky good with this.
It's almost like they've been married for 15 years. You remember? Nice.
So like, what are like my follow up in these questions? In this question, it just makes me kind of think, because when we look at today's day and age, because you kind of like, you don't hear that, right?
Exactly.
And like when you hear some of that math, right, relationship math, people are like, I ain't gonna do that. So I'm just curious, before y'all like made that leap and jump, what was dating like for y'all in that time? Before y'all met each other?
Ladies first.
I don't even, I share my story now because I'm like, it could help some other young ladies, but I was that one. I was so confused and looking for what I thought was love in all of the places. You know what I'm saying? Like dating for me was like, I think he liked me, and he said he liked me, and so like I'm gonna do what he want me to do and be who he want me to be, and I don't even know who I am because I'm trying to be who he said I should be. And so that's what dating was for me. Prior to actually dating my husband, like I was trying to figure out who Sherani was, but looking for Sherani in men that couldn't give me. And so it wasn't, it wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like and we figured it out. Like it turned out every one of them was like, that one had a baby, that one is married now, that one is, you know what I'm saying? And it was never what I desired because it was never right for me in the first place. But I didn't know it until, down the road. So
for me, it was a lot of off and on, like real, like I think I love this one, and I think I love that one. I actually do love this one, but it was always something that, like, the last relationship I had before her, like, it just was, it did not, we were too young, to be as serious as we were. I'm gonna just go out on a limb here. Like I actually got married before her, like young, like and it just didn't last long. Both of us were immature, like great people, but immature. We were just too young. Lots of decisions being made fast. My family told me then, like, you guys can continue to like each other, but just continue to like each other and grow up. And I was like, nah. And then right after that, I start playing college football, and I'm young and moving around and trying to figure things out. I really didn't have anything, and so like. That's another thing. When you bring nothing to a relationship, it's a lot harder to try because now you already have somebody else, like a whole nother human depending on you. And I'm like, man, I don't have anything. I don't even got a job. I got Pell Grants and stipends and a scholarship. Like I don't got nothing. You can come eat some of this top ramen, but like I had nothing. Yeah, so we were just young. Like she's the mother of my sons now, great mom, but it didn't work out. So now we're actually, fast forward, we're actually a blended family now. Like we all, which is also not everybody's story, especially in the African American household. There's always got to be drama. There's always got to be, but like we're a blended family now, and we all root for our kids and support our kids and cheer and clap for each other. And so it's great. But back then it was just everything was fast, everything was inconsistent. It was all over the place. I'm talking to a lot of different girls, and just trying to figure. And then I moved to Portland, and I'm like, oh, it's a whole new city, all new girls. Like they said we could talk, so we gotta. The people gotta know. The people have to know. Exactly. Like all new girls, new city. I'm just, I'm out here. I'm thinking I'm the most in shape cat in town. You can't tell me nothing. And I had to get humbled. I got humbled. And after I got humbled and realized I was not always right, and my actions were out of pocket in a lot of scenarios and situations, like honestly, God started to work on my heart. And like I knew just by how she continued to be with me. I told her, like, even when we were dating before we got married, like for some reason she just had something that I couldn't walk away from. I was good at like walking away and finding another girl or talking to somebody different, right, wrong, or indifferent. But like she just always had something that I couldn't walk away from. I would try to leave, and I get back to my apartment, and I'm like, man, I'm going back. We're going to figure, like, and she would just sit there and be like, okay. Like, she was always just like waiting because she knew. And before long, I didn't have keys, but it'd be a knock at the door. Like, can I please come back in? Like, can we figure it out? So,
Bro. I was literally gonna ask about like what was, because what I was gonna ask about what was different from her than the other ones that you did. And I think you said it, like there was just something about her that you just couldn't walk away from. Yeah. So I was just curious to know like what that was. But I think you kind of mentioned maybe sometimes you just don't know what it is. Yeah. But
connections are real. Like when you find your person, like it's real. Like there's a such thing as not being like just spontaneous, and if it works, it works. Like there is a genuine connection that really does happen that like connects your soul with another person. And it don't matter, man. We've been through just about everything you could go through, and I've never been able to just like walk away from her and leave her, and I've never been able to do that, So that's how I knew, like, man, this is for you. She is for you. Like, just embrace it, bro. And
because I super appreciate y'all being vulnerable here, and the reason why we kind of ask that question is because, as each year that keeps turning on the calendar, everyone's like, the dating market is this. In my opinion, even though I haven't been on this earth forever, I feel I'm an old soul. Yeah. But it's like the dating market is still the same. Like we all want the same things, and like we all go through like different trials, tribulations, the blendedness, and what I'm just even hearing is like the authenticity and like the intentionality piece was like the perfect bow to like making that work, because everyone always asks, well, there's piss in the dating pool, there's this, and then sometimes I'm just thinking where it's like, what were you bringing to that situation? Because maybe it's you, because I even think about how I found my person, where it's kind of like I had to make some intentional shifts one year before I found that person, because I just know if I was doing the same stuff I was doing, I wouldn't have been ready for, she needs, when she's saying this, it's not that I need to walk away, I need to walk towards. Yeah. So like even like before the dating, the marriage, like the senses, like you both were just saying, like I just knew.
Yeah.
So no, I'm geeking because I'm like, hey, as just as much as I want to interview, I'm like, I want to learn.
Yeah.
You know, I want to learn.
Yeah.
That's real.
It's a real
Intentional shifts. That's good because like I definitely had to make one that did not sit well with him. Right.
Okay.
For a minute, I had to make an intentional shift, and all
Tell
of the
him
things
what it
that
was. Tell him what it
I'll
was.
share because I know it's gonna help somebody. Let me
get a sip of my water.
No, but I knew that in relationships previously, I had been like I said, like I was like I want to do what makes him happy, and so a lot of that was me giving of myself, right? Physically, right? And so when I told God, I was like, listen, we gotta do something different. Actually, he told me you gotta do something different. So like, Sherani, you need to make an intentional shift. And I said, how? Well, I know my person. And it was because he said the next person you will know is because when you say no, he won't leave. And so intentional shift, like he did not like it at all. He was like, man, God ain't told me that. God ain't told me that we waiting. And I was like, God told me. And so when I knew that he was for me, when I told him no to like intimacy, sex, and he stayed. And so that was the shift that God told me to make for me to know who my husband was.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't want to make like, you know, if you asking for authenticity, we are a real couple. I'm not. It was not easy, and I did not leave the relationship. I left the room to try to talk it out, right? Yeah, I did. Yeah, like I left the room, and I had to bite my tongue, and I thought about punching a few walls, and like, cause she for real said that, and I wholeheartedly believed in God too, even back then. Like I was raised believing in God, and I know where my faith was, but I was like, man, God didn't tell me that, you know. But you gotta understand. At the time, I think I'm like 22, and I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm fresh out and I'm ready, you know. Like we, you know, and I'm like, man, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it, man. And I'm like, man, God did not tell me, like I hadn't, but I just hadn't had that conversation with him yet. And man, I just knew that it was like it would be harder without her than with her, no matter what happened. And like she really just held me down. Like, and I wasn't with her because of what she could give me, but like she also provided like emotional sensitivity that I didn't know I needed. Like she never attacked me for who I was. She never made me feel less than for like being vulnerable in certain moments. She respected my masculinity, but she also set a standard. Like, hey, some stuff is because I was hot-headed back then too. I had a temper, you know, like, and so she was like, hey man, this is the standard. Like, I don't want to be around anybody that's unsafe. She was also very different than me. I grew up in a very urban area in Seattle, the Central District, and it was a lot of violence. And I had family that was affiliated, and I thought I was too. So like, I came down here like, man, it's really just I was a different type of person. And she was like, very proper and had just graduated from college, a private college, and she's like, I don't do any of those rough things. I don't do any of those rough things, and I don't know those little hooligans that you're running. I don't do any of that. And I was like, she's like a little schoolgirl. And then I was like, man, it really made me like put a lot of stuff down. Like she's making me look at stuff different. A lot of people were kind of like, you know, like I got the bad boy or the dude that takes risks or whatever. And she was like, I don't want anything risky. And, you know, I'm not willing. Like, and if you were a bad boy, you need to be a good boy. Cause I'm not, you know?
You said that.
Yeah. Like she just had a different vibe. And I was like, man, I would, you know, like, I don't mind being a square for her. Like if she wants somebody that's like, you know, she know I'll protect her, but I don't need to be out here doing all that, man. Like I would put it all down for her, man. And she slowly just, you know, like she made me want to be a better man. And I had never met a woman outside of my mother that made me want to be like, because I always figured a woman can't teach a man how, and she never tried to teach me anything though. She just kind of like set a standard and let me respond. Tried to, you know, and that's, I responded to it.
Gems everywhere. I love that.
They literally do this.
And I think you touched on something that's so like cool, and that's something I've always like thought about too. Is like when you meet someone, it's like, she just makes you better, makes you want to be better and everything. So it sounds like that's kind of what she helped you with and everything. I actually wasn't even going to ask, like, in what ways have you guys, you know, made each other better? Or what ways have you, like, learned from each other? Like, what are those things that you picked from each other and everything to, like, you know, to where you are now?
Yeah. I'm spoiled,
Man.
and I've always been spoiled. My daddy spoiled me, and I, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I walked in that. Like I walked in that and was confident in it. And but my husband has been he's been patient, but he's also been strong enough to tell me like, hey, that's not a good look, or like, you kind of temper tantrum a little bit. And it took me a minute because I was like, no, I don't. But like, even in that, I was like, okay, is that considered a temper tantrum? Yeah, okay. Boom. So let me get myself together. But I think it takes somebody who is him to be able to tell me like, hey, that's not a good look. Or like, you can do better than that. And for me to process it right. And then hear it and say like, you know what, I can hear that, I understand that, and I desire to be better for us. Right. Wow. And so like, just him showing me that like, you know, yep, you're very spoiled, and he spoils me, right? But he will also tell me when like, yeah, it's too much. That's too much.
Before you answer T's question, really quick, because I think that is such a hidden gem. Could you just say a little bit more about the processing it takes to hear that feedback from your partner, being like, hey, could you rethink about that? Because I think people say that word, like, I got to process, but I don't think they understand like the gears and the twist of like what it goes into processing, taking in feedback from someone you love. Could you just, if you don't mind?
Yeah. And for me, I'm not going to front like it was like I took a day and then I was like better the next day. That's not my story. Like when I say I had to process, like I really had to think about what he was saying. And honestly, it didn't really come to me until I was saying it about somebody else. Like as I was talking about somebody else's story, like God revealed to me like, yeah, that's what your husband is saying about you. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, so that's what it takes. And so processing is not just like sitting down for a day and then being like, oh, okay, I can hear that. It's like actually taking the time and being willing to hear your spouse, but like being willing to hear your spouse, even when it hurts, even when you disagree in the moment, because it was some disagree in the moment. Like, no, that's not how I act, or that's not what I do. And then when the Lord allowed me to see it for myself, and then he can point it out, then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's exactly what that is. And like, how then do I become better? Because that's not what I desire to be. And so it takes time. It takes being willing. It takes being open. It takes being patient. It takes actually sitting in it and then saying like, oh man, if that affects him, then how can I work on and work towards being better for us?
That's really good, yeah. That's really good.
Man, ooh.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's really good.
I don't know if it's the words, it's the rock on her hand. Like, play. It's a smile day.
Yeah.
Man, this is the lottery over here, man. This is a hip.
We still growing. We still growing. Man, for me, it definitely, like, I don't know, when you say, like, when I said she made me want to be better, it was like, you know, there was nothing, I knew there was nothing that, like, she didn't need me for anything. Like, when I met her, she had already graduated from college. She was in, you know, she had a stable income. Her and her sister and her cousin, like, were already sharing, like, a whole house. Like, not in a little apartment. Like, 2 floors, 4 or 5 bedrooms. Like, they had their own stuff, and they was good. Like, she did not need me for anything. And so then it turned into like, man, what can I provide? Because she already has, you know, like, I try to start figuring out ways like, you know, what can I provide? And for her, it started with like, man, like, make sure you're taking care of your children. Like, that was the first thing. Like, I want you to be a good dad for your kids. You know what I'm saying? And I never desired to not do for my kids, or I never left them one single day. Was there literally since the day they was born, all the doctor's appointments, you know, like, but she desired for me to also be like a good father. And then she learned even before we were married, because we met and were talking, dating. My oldest son was an infant, and then my next son was on the way. So like, she's known my kids their whole life, and she was like, you know, how can I help you like with them? And, you know, like, she just made me want to make better choices, because I didn't have, like, she didn't need me for anything. So it kind of was like, man, how can I contribute to what you're already doing? It just kind of was like it was just I knew she was my person. Like I can't really, you still can't really put words to it, but like you do know. Like that's, I guess that's what I would, for the hopeless romantics or like thinking you gotta pull extra strings or you have to do this or be that. Like, nah, when you are yourself, like it's not that you won't ever have struggles or times of compromise, but like it is possible for you to like come into a relationship and meet your person and know that this person is for you and like literally ask God for what you want and he'll give you what you need. That's so amazing. Yeah, man, like it's real. Like it actually does happen.
It's so you because you can't mess around with with the God.
Yeah,
can't mess around. I remember twice in my life when I was like, God, put this person in my life. One time, crash out.
Yeah, no, we talked about that.
Yeah. I learned a lesson.
Yeah,
I learned a lesson. I was like, let me make sure, because when we're asking God for things, it's not like a wish. It's not Santa. It's like, because sometimes you forget stuff on that list.
Yeah.
And the second time I asked, I got exactly what I asked for.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you saying that, because it's, for me, I'm just like going back in my head being like, yes, he gives us exactly what we're asking for, but it's how we're praying and asking for it that matters, and like the true intentions with that. Because the person I have now, I think I said the right and asked for the right prayer.
Yeah.
Making me that person that is there and needed for them. And just hearing that that just weighed heavy on my heart. I just had to say that because because I think that's important, because don't get me wrong, as people who follow the show, mental health, social justice, all that other stuff, but I think a lot of this stuff where people try to like put a lot of science to love, and a lot of love just has a lot of faith. Yeah. And like people are like, and faith comes from believing in that higher power. Faith comes from like, can I trust that person even though I'm having this pit in my stomach? So, and it's about like, can I just put my belief in something higher than me, something bigger than our relationship, and that's us being together. Now, this gets me into my follow-up question, and my follow-up question is, in this day and age, relationships have matured, and I'm just curious, because y'all could be 100% with me.
Yeah.
Are marriages really 50-50?
You want to go first? I can start.
What do you mean by 50-50? I guess you got
to explain.
50-50.
So when we get on Instagram, Facebook, everyone's like, I don't want to be in no 50-50 relationship. That, like, I need my man to provide everything. Is marriage really 50-50?
Can I go first?
Of course.
Yeah. It is still ladies first, but like that kind of bothers me when I see that on social media or wherever it might be. Man, like that, you can't, like when you try to set a standard like that, like you're not thinking of all the other things that can happen. There's no way a marriage can be 50-50. Like I may provide financially the first couple years, and then I may fall short and she needs to pick me. Like you never know what's going to happen, man. Like I think that it's 100, and like you can't give the same way. Like a wife can't give the same way a husband can. A husband doesn't give the same way a wife does. Like there are ways that she takes care of me that maybe don't check the box as far as social media is concerned. But I know had she not done that, like my day would have been off, my week would have been off. And like fellas, when you married, there's only certain things that your wife can do that like, she gotta, and when she does it, it's like, man, what else do you need me to do? Like, I'll go whatever you need. But like the way that she takes care of me is different than the way that I take care of her. But there's no way that I could be as in the position that I'm in, like in the workforce or anything else that I do, had she not taken care of me in other ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she cooks better than me. Like she knows how to make any house a home, whether it's an apartment or, in either of the two homes that we bought now later in life. Like, man, she just knows how to be, like, she knows how to be a woman, first of all, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that ain't being a woman, like what I've seen, the example that I've seen in my house, that ain't 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like she's 100% all the time. Sometimes even when she on my nerves, she's still like, I still can't go to sleep unless her leg is on me. Like I know I'm mad at you, but can you put your leg on me so I can go to sleep? Like I know she's always there. And so ways that, man, like paying bills is always going to be another bill. But like when I have somebody that I know, regardless of whatever happened during the day, when I come home, she's my safe space. She gonna cover me. Like she knows like what I need, even down to like if we do have an excited discussion, not an argument, I like to call them excited discussions. Like, you know, like she may not apologize to me the way I apologize to her, but what she is gonna do, like, you hungry? I'm like, yeah, you know, and then we back on, you know, I know, like, but I know her, you know, like, and not to say she doesn't apologize, but just, you know, like there is a way that you take care of each other that has nothing to do with a percentage, man, because we've also had life happen. And when you land in a hospital room and you can't do nothing for yourself and you look over and the person that you need more than anybody else is like right there by your side, even if she don't like hospitals and she's a germaphobe and all that, like she's there for me every time. And that you can't put no percentage on that, man, you know? Yeah.
100. Love
it. Yeah.
I'ma just agree.
No, that's fair. And I appreciate that. Because my next question follow-up is more rapid fire too, because we hear that, and now we also kind of hear about prenuptial agreements. Do y'all believe in marriages that there should be prenups?
Man, I mean, we ain't got one. So
Yeah, we definitely don't. We definitely don't. Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I guess to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say what's right or what's wrong for other people in their relationships. Some people have reasons why they choose to do what they do. I feel like if you come into it with an agreement of like what we gonna do if we leave, we're coming into it already with the wrong mindset. Because our mindset when we came into it is we ain't gonna leave, and so ain't no need for no prenup, because whatever it is, we just gonna we gonna trust God to work it out between us. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have no need to write that contract, and the only contract and covenant we gonna focus on is the one that we making before God and our family for life or for death, for better or for worse. And so, you know, I amen to those who feel the need to do that. I think our mindset is like, you know what I mean? We in this for life, so.
No, it's interesting because I'm hearing that a lot more, where I think for me, when I come out and I approach different relationships in that manner, because I look at how messy divorces are, how child support goes, and all the other things where, at least in my line of work and how I like to work with people, is either we're going to work to be together or we're going to be solid co-parents. And sometimes I think this all can be avoided if we just like, hey, how we entered the marriage, that's your stuff, but what we've made together, we'll just split that 50-50, because uprooting a family is very traumatic. And I feel like people really don't understand it. Like, we logically get it, but we don't understand it. And I'll say it like this: the creed and the energy to fight to be right, it just harms everyone. Where losing a family, no matter what it is, it's just very harmful. And I think the best way to leave a family is try to do as less harm as you can, because you know there's kids involved, there's love that's lost, there's so many different things. So I always kind of think of like what are nuanced ways where people can just understand, because I think the reason why I kind of had that question is because a lot more young males have been like, all right, we should have prenups, because they're thinking about the court system and how it's not favorable for them. And I was like, to be honest with you, because like even for me, I'm thinking like, do I need to start, thinking about that? Because, I got this by myself.
Yeah.
Let me just be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest, but for me, I just know me. I'm gonna do the right thing.
Yeah.
And like same thing for my person. My person had like their own business and things of that manner. I would feel less of a man being like, all right, it didn't work out, give me that. I'd be like, let's just split what we did together. You can keep your stuff. Like that's just how I operate. So no, that's where that question came from.
Yeah, no, and I think to each his own, and I think people may have reasons for why they have those conversations. And maybe because we didn't have nothing when we got married.
That too, nothing from nothing equals not a dang thing. You know? Yeah.
Somebody gonna be like, they answering that question. You right. You know what I'm saying? We got stuff now, but amen. We also are focused on. We know it's all good.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna ask the next question, but I don't know if you wanted to allude on what she just said.
No, I just think for us, again, to each his own, but like as far as prenups, man, like I really feel like in my relationship, my household, like, yes, we do have like things that are like binding now and that are like worth money, and we have signed contracts, and we have like invested into our home, and we have invested into, you know, like other things. I have, you know, like other things that are worth money, just for not listing stuff out. But I just really feel like, man, for us, I know that our center is God, you know what I'm saying? And when I continuously love him, like he also shows me like how to continue to love people, how to continue to love my wife, you know, like just with scripture. And I know that being prideful, like having you know, like just greed and all that stuff like that really doesn't get you anywhere, you know what I'm saying? And so like what we've learned is like, if we can continue to come back to him, he always shows us how to be one with each other. But I totally agree. Like if you come into a marriage on the defense thinking of like, man, how can I protect myself? Then you probably should wait to get married, bro. Right. Like, you know, just if you feel like you need to be on the defense, you know what I'm saying, before tip off, like you don't even know the game plan yet, bro. Like let's see what audibles come. Let's see what the defense is going to do. Let's see what the off, like you haven't even seen how it's going to play out yet, but you're already trying to protect some assets that you can't even leave the world with. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to be able to leave the world with the 5-bedroom house and all the cars and the money. If you die tomorrow, your money's going to be sitting in a bank account in probate, waiting for the next of kin to step in line and do something that you probably wouldn't agree with your stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? But you don't get to say so at that point. So like, you know, God works in mysterious ways, and you don't know how long you have. So spend less time arguing and more time trying to figure out like what you can do to keep yourself healthy and stay in a healthy place with your mate, you know, and your family. You know, we have a daughter. Since we got married, we have a daughter now that's 14. And I think about, man, if I'm out here acting ugly and arguing, like, I think now, like, man, can my daughter marry me?
That's
like,
a really good question.
Can my daughter marry a man that's just like me, and I'd be okay with it? Not for what y'all see right now, but like for the character issues, for the flaws, the things that nobody sees, the things that you struggle with. That like, would I be happy if my daughter married somebody like me? Wow, yeah. And if the answer is no, then it ain't on everybody else, and it ain't the blame game. Like, I got to figure out what I'm doing. But if my daughter see me arguing over a prenup and protecting my stuff, and like that puts something in her mind, like, oh, this is what men do. Like, so I gotta know, like, men are supposed to love and protect, be vulnerable, share. That's who I want my daughter to marry. You know,
that's beautiful.
Well,
I feel like we can go. I could even ask so many questions about that. I love that, but I mean, that's really great. But go ahead.
Well, before you ask that question,
I wouldn't even.
Before you ask that question,
yeah, that's amazing.
I'm gonna have to rethink some thoughts.
But
I'm not gonna have to rethink this. We're gonna have to go to a quick commercial break.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Yes. Wisdom, I love it.
Do you have an event coming up? A project that would be elevated by crisp visuals and clear audio? Look no further than the Backseat Critic Productions. Our email is bc.productions.pdx@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at bc.productions.pdx.
What up? We're back from that commercial break. Was it Backseat Critics, right? Shout out to Backseat Critics. They're amazing. And yeah, we're going to just keep on going with the interview. We still have the Lovely Hills with us, and we're going to get right into the next question. For me, what I would love to know is, I think you mentioned it earlier, is there was just not the conflict, but the excited arguments.
Yeah.
So one thing I'd love to know is just like, one, how did y'all handle those excited arguments at the beginning of your marriage, and even like now to this day? Like, has it changed, and how do you handle it now? You know,
What it was fire and brimstone, Slam door. I mean, just being real, we definitely don't want to paint the picture that we got some fairy tale man, y'all fake. There's other stuff that happens. Man, slamming doors. I do believe in my heart, like never, ever, ever, ever under any circumstances put your hands on a woman. And I know people have different opinions, but like, what if you're getting hit? Well, block them, keep the left up and walk out. You know what I'm saying? But you just don't want to put yourself in that position for so many reasons. I understand tempers and right, wrong is wrong, but like there are just so many other ways to handle situations. So we've never escalated to that point, but like just for like the arguments, we've done it all. We've slammed doors. We've told each other we leaving. We've promised we not coming back. We've,
the shutdown queen,
ignored each other.
I get sarcastic.
Oh my gosh.
It has gotten in the past. It was we had some interesting, excited discussions.
But it was because we did it. Yeah, we did it.
Excited arguments.
Excited discussions. You said it right the first time. But we just, honestly, the root of it, it came down to like, we just didn't know how to listen to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times she would be saying she would answer my question, but it wasn't the way I wanted her to answer it. Right. So then I'm expecting myself out of her. Like this is how I would answer it if it was me, I would do it. Well, she's not me, and she has a whole different brain. Right. She's a whole different person. You know what I'm saying? So she's never gonna answer questions the way I would. But I had to get used to that, and we still work through the communication hiccups, right? But now, like I truly do live by, like, my hardest. I try to live by, using soft words and hard conversations. And I think I said that to you before. Use soft words and hard conversations, and it rubs off the more because now just on the way here, we were trying to figure out, like, navigate. Man, might be too late. Like, what's going on? The plan. What's going on? But it's like now she understands too, and she knows that's how I hear. Yeah. So she comes back and she's like, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to make us later. I wasn't exactly sure of the plan as far as dropping the baby off or what we had to, and then I'm like, man, thank you for acknowledging that. Like literally a half hour ago. Thank you for acknowledging that. This is all I was trying to say. And then, literally by the time we get to the door, we like and it's good. Like there's not gonna be any weirdness later. The night is not ruined. Like we not arguing and fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like she got my favorite pants, so the night is nowhere to she was get dressed. I was like, oh, so we ain't gonna get through this interview, huh? That's what you try to do. But seriously, man, like we really are both trying to see each other's hearts and understand each other, man. Like you just gotta listen. Like I had to learn to listen, and I don't be liking to listen all the time. But you just had to listen. But she learned, like, man, I have to listen too. Like I have to hear what he's saying. Like he's telling me what he needs. So like let me hear it and not think he's trying to attack me. He's trying to tell me something. So yeah.
And that's really cool because that's something that we've talked about like before in a few other podcasts. It's like understand that you're both on the same team. Yeah. And I think like a lot of times in other relationships, it's like you mentioned earlier, like some people can feel defensive and some people can feel attacked and everything. But it's like when you have two people who understand that they're on the same team and like they're working towards the same thing, it's like, all right, like you understand that she has your back, you understand that he has your back, you're on the same goal. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear that and everything. So I love that. Love to hear your side, Adam, too.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree. I think that now we are at a place where we are better. I think we also know how to slow down, right? And so do we still have excited discussions? Absolutely, right? Because we don't want to paint the picture for nobody. They're like, oh, well, now it's all good. No, 15 years in, we still have excited 100%. Discussions. We're quicker, though, to come back and be like, what was this about? Or like, what are you actually trying to say? And did I get my point across? Did you get your point across? Were we able to like really? So we're able to come down a lot quicker. We're able to recognize it in the moment that okay, this is going somewhere that we don't really even need to go. Let's stop. Let's take a pause. Let's step back and then actually see: are we hearing each other? What do we want to say? What are we trying to say? And so I think we're able to recognize it quicker and try to do something about it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. You got these gems, that quickness, right?
Yeah.
Because I told y'all before the interview started, I wanted to stay a student. And I'm trying to stay a student because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I really want to be where y'all are at. Like I can see it. There's so many glimmers of love here, and like I just logically know love matures and changes by each year. And I geek about that kind of stuff. Like, I want to know what 10 years of being with the same person's like, because I like what I like. Yeah. So, like, that's how to say, I just like.
I'm going to be real with you, dog. I ain't finna lie to you in here.
So I think for me, it's just like, when you say slowing down, I think everyone's in a rush to get to the end point, but it's also the process where just hearing it from like a therapist lens and just hearing someone saying like, we need to slow down because like everyone's trying to be so efficient and quick, and we're just missing out. Like, I'm not hearing him like I need to hear him. I'm not even hearing myself because I'm so in conflict, because in like how I do work, I think there's like the sayings like, do you want to be married? You want to be right, or you want to be married? I like that. And then I actually changed it and I matured it to say, do you want to be right, or do you want to be connected? Because sometimes it's more important to be connected to your person than to be right. Where sometimes connection is slowing down, and you know what? I did tell him to do this, but there's a reason why there's this hitch. And the love is, I want to see him when he's not his best, or I want him to see me when I'm not or my best. And I just really appreciate you saying that, because I'm a bit of an old soul, and I am not where y'all are at. And I remember as like a young therapist, I was like, I always thought my credentials was I had to get married to know what to say and how to say things. But it's just, that was my own intrusive thoughts. But like hearing y'all's story and what y'all are just doing, just like, dang, y'all, you can, like, people can really know how to say and do stuff. It's just about finding that person and just doing it with, because if you do slow down, you can figure out so many things about the person you love, and it's just through that conflict.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's also okay to be. I'm learning probably more than her. I'm a little bullheaded sometimes, I know, but like it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like she'd be like, didn't I? You know, like, were you late to the thing? And I'm like, yeah, I was. Yeah, I was late. You know, like I did. Yeah, I was supposed to. I did. You know what? I did forget to call that person back or text him, and I told you that I would. Like, my fault. And a lot of times you can get through conflict so much quicker when it's just like, man, I did hear what you said, and I remember when you asked me to do that. I forgot, you know, like, but I also, you know, she forgets too, or things slip her mind, or I ask her to do something, she's like, man, I forgot, like, you know, like, but it's okay, like, just the quicker you admit, like, man, I wasn't 100% on that one. The quicker you can move forward, you know, when you start trying to cover up, like, that's when you get into that's when it gets tricky, you know.
Oof.
Do those my bads be sizzling? Because I know for me sometimes I'm like, damn, I gotta say my bad.
Yeah, it's still better.
But I'm getting better.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's good. I mean, well, now it's gonna go even deeper. But I'm like, I think you mentioned it too. But like, what were some things that I think at the beginning you may have like tried to hide from each other? Like you were like you felt vulnerable that this person would see and everything. Like, were there those things at the beginning? And if not, you know, it's okay. But I'm just wondering what that was, and if there was anything.
Yeah, that's deep.
I know it's deep. I know. I was like, I didn't have that there, but it's just as we're talking, good. It's just like, yeah.
For me, man, I think what I tried to hide most, and I have glimpses of it still, but I think I tried to hide my brokenness. And that did so much damage, because like he was the person that I should have been able to be vulnerable with. But I just did a lot of like masking, because I had, like, when you're in a place where you've been broken and you've been hurt, and so you're just trying to like put on the like, I'm good now. And so for a long time, like, I just was trying to, I have that part of me that's I'm good now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't want to continue to be broken. I don't want to continue to be hurt. And so I would just, everything was, I'm good now. Like, I can handle that. I'm good now. Because you know, and so I think for me that was in the beginning that did us a lot of damage. Me just trying to hide those parts of me and those places of like hurt when if I would have said like, hey, here's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like here, just put it all on the table. Like here's what hurt me, here's what I don't like, here's what I don't need. But I think I came into it just like I'm so strong and I can do this and I'm not gonna be hurt again. So like this is what you get. Like that shell and that wall, was definitely there, and it has taken a long time to like, you know, come down.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Big guy, right? Like big presence, masculine, macho in some ways, which is dumb. But like I was right, like protector, like all the things like a guy's guy. My uncle showed me how to fix a few things. So like, you know, like, and he was a real knuckle dragger. So like, you know, I thought, like, you know, like he was a real, he didn't have a problem. Like, you know, like if he was messing with his family, it was nothing, you know? So like, I really, you know, all this stuff, but like I was so insecure. Like I was so insecure and I masked it behind like, you know, well, other women like me or other girls like, you know, like if it's not here, then I could just go, you know, like just all the typical hot-headed stuff that you say. And like behind that, like I was just real insecure. Like my mom always did everything she could for me. My uncle, I called him like my uncle dad. He was like my Superman. He passed away. My pastor down here, like he passed away like days after, like within a day of my uncle, you know, my uncle dad. So like I lost two influential men at the same time. My biological dad died like in 2012. So like the men in my life that were really solid at the time, like they had passed away, and I was just trying to like find it even still, like, and this was into our marriage, but like I was still very insecure about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Because I came into her world. So like her past is down here, any exes are in Portland, any people, you know, and I was always on high alert, like who's this, who's that, when at the end of the day, like, should it really matter to me as much as it did, or it does, you know, like at times it does, like, should it matter that much? Like if it was in the past, is it in the past? But I'm so busy, like, well, maybe they like she wants some part of that relationship, or maybe there's something that I'm not doing or what. And I'm like, man, like, bro, she is choosing to be with you for a reason. Like once I calm down and she like reaffirms or does that, put that right hand on my left leg and just lets me know she's still there, then I'm like, man, but I had to learn, man, like I'm insecure because I got stuff, but I'm projecting my fears, my insecurities, my past hurts, my traumas, all that onto her. And to be honest, like she ain't even did that. Like I'm painting this picture in my head, and then because I'm not even asking her about stuff, or I'm not getting the answers I want, or she's not telling me what I want her to say, then I'm thinking the stuff is shit. Like I'm believing my own lies, I guess I'm saying. So then like she's at a girls' night and stopped at the Winco, and I got her off like, well, you probably with the old dude. Like where did that even come from, bro? Like where, like for real, like, but we, but for real, like where did that even, you heard that when I added that Winco in, you like, you know, because it ain't, you was really at Winco. But like you begin to project your insecurities onto the other person because you ain't dealt with you. And so when I started pointing the finger at myself and being like, bro, maybe it's some stuff you got to work on. There's stuff she has to work on, but like you iron yourself out. You focus on God. You figure out a safe space, a therapist, somebody to talk. And a lot of the things that I started to uncover and the layers that started to get peeled back had nothing to do with a physical relationship with a mate. It was like stuff from like when I was a kid, or ways that I wanted my biological father to be there for me. So you start finding like affections and trying to find all these things in other people, and then the times that they weren't there and you feel something, you like, you know, there's all these things that happen with the human psychology, man. So like I really had to accept my brokenness, stop trying to hide it from her, and be vulnerable. And like that really changed our relationship when I was able to kind of make that shift. And then it also lets her know, like, man, it's, if he can do it, I can do it too.
Wow, that's good.
So then it creates a space like, man, I can really share with him some things if I don't continue to make her feel like, you know, like it's not safe for her to share.
Wow.
So
that's beautiful. That's good. So many questions, but I'm like, I don't want to ask too much. It's beautiful. It's good.
It is. And I think one of the things that with the pod that we try to do is we always try to say we want to leave people with gems to try, because I feel like when people talk about relationships or share their stories, it's all about their, I gotta get a clip, or I gotta have something that's so shocking. You're like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and it's just like drama. And I think one of the things I kind of want to ask y'all to kind of like bring down the night is when it comes to, why do y'all, just from your perspective, not looking for a right or wrong answer, like why do y'all think people are struggling to find marriage and to stay into marriage? What do you think is the issue in our culture?
Or is there an issue in the culture?
Even so.
Yeah.
I would say, like, man, for us, we are microwaved. Like we want things right now. You actually said it earlier. Like, we focus on the end goal so much, we don't take time to enjoy the journey.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? And like the journey is the ups and downs. Like, man, remember when we were so broke? Like we couldn't even go to KFC and get nothing for a couple bucks. Like, the times that you laugh about later, we argue and we fight so much over what we see on TV because we forcing it to be our reality. Like, man, you're going to go through, you got to know you're going to go through. It doesn't always have to be drama, but some days you might just be like, man, I don't really like the way you look this morning. Like, like something, your breath kind of stink a little extra, whatever it is, like you have these little pockets and spots and things that you go through, but you have to know that, man, like this is part of the journey. And like, man, this is still who I love every day. Like I said it at church, man, like I'll slap hands with the devil for her and win. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, I'm going to be there to do it. But like, I'm not so hyper focused on the goal that I forgot about the journey. And I think that we struggle with that. Like in the African-American community, for sure, like we're always so quick to get the money, to get the girl with the best body, to like the dude got to have 6-7 figures. There's all these standards that get set when it's like, man, just enjoy the person that God gave you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's going to come with some stuff sometimes, but if you're both willing to work, like just continue to work. It's okay. It's between y'all. So we just too conditioned. We want it too fast,
I say that, and I would say, I think a lot of times people are focused on the marriage, right? Like, I'm gonna have the wedding. I want to have and all of the things that we thought about since we was a kid. Like, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that, and we focus so much on the thing and what it's going to look like to other people. But man, like, we tell ourselves all the time, like, marriage is ministry, right? And so, like, when we're focused on the wedding and not on the ministry that has to take place to keep the marriage going, then that's where we mess up. Because after the wedding is over and after you spent all the money and the honeymoon and all the feel good stuff is over, like, man, y'all gotta be in ministry. And ministry takes work. It takes time. It takes working together. It takes becoming one. It takes letting some stuff fall off of you and growing in some other areas. And I think that a lot of times people go into it with like, I'm going to be who I am, you gonna be who you are. Man, that's not marriage. Marriage is like, we gonna come together and we gonna allow ourselves to see where we need to work and what God wants to make like fall off of us so that we can become one together. And so when we have that idea of what we think is going to be, and then we get in it and it's that first discussion, or if it's that first like, we ain't really agreeing on this, or like, I don't even really know that you like your eggs like that, but I don't, or you know what I'm saying, like, because it can be little stuff like then it's like, oh, we ain't meant to be. No, you meant to be, but you gotta work to be what God has called you to be. And people don't want to do the work and the ministry that is called for the marriage.
I gotta say this real quick. I'm sorry, but we talked about this. I said if I ever wrote a book, there would be a chapter in my book called Tuna Casserole. And she was like, where are you going with this? And I was like, man, for years, when I was younger, me and my uncle used to go fishing. And like, that was the quick meal on the shore or whatever. Like, it was always corn and tuna, or corn and some kind of mashed up fish real quick in a skillet or on a stove. And I ate so much of it, I don't like it anymore. Quick dinner ideas, right? Tuna casserole is some kind of fish, corn, noodles, cream of corn, whatever it is.
And I like
cream of mushrooms. And she liked it. For years, I didn't really say nothing. And then finally I was like, man, I don't really like I like fish, and corn is okay. Not really a big corn dude, but like I don't really like tuna casserole like that. And then we kind of talked about it, but like how many times do we let things go that the other person does that we do not like, and we just keep the cute hasn't worn off yet, or we're just not gonna say anything because of the I'm still in my wedding phase, and I want Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat to see us. You know what I'm saying? But I never like that. I never, you talk to me a certain way and I never like it, but I accepted it. You leave the toilet seat up. I never liked it, but I accept it. You squeeze the last bit out of the toothpaste and then you leave it on the counter, and I never liked it, but I keep accepting it. And then there's this huge blow up over like something somebody says or does. And you like, is this really over the fact that I ordered hand tossed over stuffed crust, or like is this really over pizza? Because you're like, this sounds like this argument sounds personal. Like, is this really over pizza, or did something else happen? But it's because there are so many things that you let go, trying to like keep everything copacetic when you really just don't like it at all. But you have to recognize that you're still two individuals, man. Like, and so I just said, babe, like I don't want to end up arguing over the tuna casserole, man. Like, I'd rather just tell you I don't like it. If you make it, I'll eat it, but like it's not my go-to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that we can just those little things you learn to move past. Like, and so she just knows what's up. Like, and it could be in any area, but I just call it like tuna casserole, man. Like, I don't want to have that argument.
I love that.
You know?
Y'all, slow it down. We got to rewind the tape. Y'all about to miss something. Y'all about to miss something. He said, if you make it, it's still fine.
Yeah.
Y'all, I know what y'all heard. Y'all like, well, I just got to tell my partner I just don't like that, and they going to make the adjustment. No.
Yeah.
What he said is, because she still like the tuna casserole.
She likes it.
And it's still going to get made.
Yeah.
And he's still going to, I may have a slice of it. I might have to make my own thing, or, hey, babe, can you make something else? Y'all just, I want to make sure y'all hear that.
Yeah.
And now what I do is when I make tuna casserole, because me and my kids like it, but I'll make him pasta because I know it doesn't take me a whole lot of extra stuff. I'm already putting pasta in the tuna casserole. Right. So I make him a little different dish because I know that, you know, he has told me now that it's not his favorite. And so we compromise, but we only can compromise with each other when we know what we need.
That's love, respect, and adoration. Yeah. Now, to get to the last part, and it's quick and we in and out. Now, that was a gym in itself. I just want to ask, to keep this train going, what do y'all believe are the top 5 things in your marriage that you have to keep doing to make sure the glimmers and the sparks are still there for 10, 20, 30 more years, 50, 40 to come? What are y'all top 5?
Man, date each other. We have gone through the book of the what's the knowing your love language, and so that's what we would say. First, know your partner's love language, know what they need. Cause I'm a dater. Like, take me out on a date. He likes to get, buy him some shoes. So like know each other, like buy him some shoes and be his wife. If you know what I'm saying. So know what each other needs. Know the needs of your partner is one that I would say.
Yeah. I would definitely say, man, like before I say physical intimacy, before I say that, I am gonna say listen, because if you are loving your partner wrong, and I'm gonna get a little personal, like if you are loving or even touching your partner wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you haven't listened to what they said they like or what they want, like even if you do get to physical intimacy, it's clunky, it's arduous, it's off, it's calculated. You don't know where to, like, well, I don't know how, like, if you pay attention and listen to what your partner likes, I think it makes everything else better. Like if you're not a vegetarian, it's like bacon makes everything better. Listening makes everything, it really does make everything better. So I would say, like, date your person, listen to them. I definitely know that physical intimacy for both people is in there somewhere. It's probably top 3. It might be top 1 for me, but can't get higher than 1. But like it's definitely up there. But like physical intimacy, but also understanding that there are other types of intimacy that are just as important. The listening, the holding hands, the laughing, the dating, like it kind of all goes together. But like, man, you have to continue to listen and be able to come. I would say another one, communication, obviously, right? Be able to come down off of your point. Some like even if you're right. Again, like, would you rather be right or rather be connected? I like that. And like, so like, it's okay to come down sometimes because Lord willing, you're going to have the rest of your life to be like, hey, like, I really feel like that could have went different. And here's how, like, but communication, man, you have to be willing. That is a night that will ruin, at my job we say shift ender, that will ruin the night if you are just not willing, if you're so busy trying to prove a point that you won't even listen to the other person's objective, man. Like, that will really cause a lot of collateral damage by trying to prove a point. Like, it's never that serious. Trying to prove your point will always lead you down. It'll lead you to the path of destruction, dog.
Lead you down. Take you down. I'm gonna end with have fun. We have fun with each other. Really. He tells jokes. I think I'm a rapper. We dance together. Like, we really do know how to have fun with each other. And so I would say that has to, like, you got to be able to have fun, like laugh, joke, whatever makes y'all happy. I like to play games at the arcade. So like, whatever that is, like, be kids and date each other, but have fun dates too. So
yeah,
nice. That's beautiful.
Hey, T, you hear that? You hear that?
What?
I think they playing that jacket ass. I know it. Man, I feel like I might.
That's hilarious.
I just want people to get married.
Wedding bells ringing.
I know. I'm hearing it. I just want to say, number one, even from just talking with y'all, and shout out to Ms. Carla for connecting us. I'll just say this. Our first call, I was like, dang. In so many ways, the capture in a room sometimes it's not with the words you say, it's the demeanor. And from jump, I've always got that from you both. And I just feel that, and the genuality that I just feel that you just want from just people and for yourselves. When it comes to ministry, when it comes to people y'all are, I know y'all made it blatantly clear. Y'all are not perfect. Y'all are not couples goals. Y'all are like, we can work and figure this out. That's the pedestal.
That should have been our number one, baby.
I was trying to ask a question that was going to allude to that, but I was like, is there something
that's the star?
Exactly.
No, that's the given. That's the given.
Absolutely, keep God first. It ain't nothing without him.
Because it won't work. And we both seen that.
So I want to say thank you for your time, your energy, your effort.
For real, same. Say what he said. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure just listening, getting some wisdom. And just listening, It's been good.
So, if y'all single or together or broken up or in the courts, listen to this. Go talk to him. Go talk to whoever you need to talk to and make it right.
Is there any way that people out there can, like, either, I don't know, get in contact with you, or just not even contact, but just any way to kind of keep up or something, or not?
You can absolutely get in contact with us, man. We actually serve in ministry as well. We're pastors also, so that makes it easy to keep in contact with God first, right? Like, but we're pastors as well. Our church is called House of Healing. EALING, and we worship on the corner of MLK and Shaver. We lease the Portland Covenant building. We worship at 1:00 every single Sunday. We right there. But yeah, man, we have an Instagram for the church, but we also have personal social medias. But man, we are just available, like mine is BigIz60, BIGIZZ60. That's Instagram, and you can reach out to us that way too. We on there. So whatever you need to do, like, we got you. We love y'all. We don't have to know you to tell you we love you, but you can absolutely reach out to us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. Well, this is another wonderful installment of Relationship Dynamics. I'm Cartier Rob.
Tommy the Disciple.
And we out.
Hey, peace.